So Betsy Ross was drinking Madeira when she was saying the flag. Constitution and Declaration of Independence were both toasted with Madeira. Franklin drank Madeira, Jefferson drank Madeira. Two things nearly destroyed Madeira, both of them thanks to America, who created Madeira in the first place. First of all, there's a little bug called phylloxera, which attacks the roots of vines, but American vines are immune to this bug. So during the trading between America and Europe, of course, the bug eventually got over to Europe and destroyed almost every single vine in Europe. The way they got around this eventually, after many years of non-production, was to find that they could graft European vines onto American rootstock and thus avoid the phylloxera bug. And now almost every single vine in Europe is grafted onto American rootstock. The next thing which nearly destroyed Madeira was Prohibition. At the time that Prohibition started, 95% of Madeira was sold in America. About 5% was sold in Russia and England, but it was basically an American drink. And so overnight, the market for Madeira got destroyed, and the Madeira wine makers and vine growers had to rip up their vines and plant other things like bananas and other crops. And to this day, it's never recovered to the way it was. You don't go to Madeira and see any vineyards in Madeira. All you will see are little fields the size of this room, and which is not big, and that could be someone's livelihood. There are a lot of very, very poor third world type of peasants who live on Madeira. There's people in the middle of the island who've never seen the ocean, and the islands are not bigger than any of the islands in Hawaii. So it's a very unusual situation. But after Prohibition, what happened was the shipping after the Second World War had improved, and the boats were no longer going to Madeira, so it became known as the Forgotten Island wine. Until about 15 years ago, when actually I was working for a family, an English family in Portugal who were major pork producers, and they bought several Madeira wine companies, and we revived Madeira in San Francisco. At that time, about 15 years ago, the only place you'd find Madeira was somewhere like Massa's, where they'd be having it with foie gras. But we put on a tasting about 28 Madeiras going back to 1845, and we had about 500 people come to that tasting, which for San Francisco jaded wine market is an unheard of turnout for a supplier tasting. But overnight, Madeira in San Francisco was born, and now you can't go to any restaurant in the city that's even half good that wouldn't do 2 or 3 Madeiras by the glass. And as with other trends like port and champagne, they start in San Francisco, then they move to New York, and then it spread around the country. And now Madeira has become a big selling product for us. In fact, if we look at our sales in terms of dollars, 4 years ago, Madeira ranked about 14th in the list of wines that we sold, and the money that it brought in. Last year, it was already number 6, so it has increased enormously and continues to grow enormously. It's a drink that people tend to like. People tend to find it useful because of its versatility, and everyone likes it when they taste it. It's just a matter of getting more people to taste it. There are about 2,100 grape growers on the island of Madeira. We buy from about 700 grape growers.